9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
Yes, good morning, ladies and gentlefolk. It is Tuesday, the 19th of April. It's a few hours before we get absolutely steamrolled by Liverpool. I hope not. I mean, reality, we probably will do. I'm not exactly going into this game, sorry, with any sort of confidence. But how are we all doing this morning? I'm here to talk about consultant Ralf. Ralf Rangnick is supposed to be going into his consultancy role that we hear so much about. I'll tell you what, comments from him last night, he better be listened to, because it's a big warning from Rangnick to both Manchester United and Erik Ten Hag about what needs to be done if United are going to avoid a Liverpool period in the wilderness. And I'll tell you what, we're already nearly a third of the way there. But I'm going to be speaking about that. I'm going to be speaking about some more comments from Ralf in the second part, the embargoed part of the press conference. Every press conference has two parts: the part that's immediately released and the part that's released at 10:30 the night before the game. So I'm going to run through those comments on Matic, on Rashford, on United's problems, on injury problems. Going to take a look at the team news. Going to take a look at the tactics board. Lots of things to discuss this morning. Who's down here in the comments? Anuj, good morning to you. T, Jason, Josh, Paula, good morning to all members. Or Rega, you're there as well. Fred Cranham. Who else we got down here? There's plenty of you. There's loads of you. And there's loads watching on YouTube and Facebook. But good morning to you, Good morning to everybody. Yesterday, we got the big news. We got the 3 words from Fabrizio. But I have to be completely honest here. It was basically a tap-in yesterday from Fabrizio. He kind of repeated what was said by David Ornstein the week before. The verbal agreement's already in place. Everything is there. Everything's nearly done. And it's just down to the signatures. Kind of a similar situation to where it was last week. But we're hearing now that it's much closer to the actual full announcement. Obviously, I've told we all knew we had to wait until the PSV against Ajax game in the Dutch Cup final. But that's happened. Unfortunately, Ajax lost. We already spoke about that in a bit of detail. We play Liverpool tonight. What we've heard is that there's not going to be an official announcement today for the game, and there won't be an official announcement tomorrow. So we're looking at Thursday or Friday. Obviously, we play Arsenal 12:30, I think, on Saturday. Will it be before then? Don't know. You can let me know what you think about that in the comments. We've got Sam watching on YouTube. How you doing, buddy? Anthony watching from Garner on YouTube. Who else we got down here? We've got Tukaz watching from South Africa on Facebook and Sar watching from Dubai. Good morning to you. Ten Hag, man. It's nearly there. We're that close. We're that close, and we're all excited about it. Very, very excited about it. But we all are under absolutely no illusions, in the same way that Ralf Rangnick didn't come in with his Wingardium Leviosa, a little bit of magic wand. He didn't have that. Erik Ten Hag won't have that. It's not a one-person fixes all situation at Manchester United. It's got to be a complete team effort. And that's what Ralf is speaking about when he sends this warning to the club. He's saying that Manchester United are facing years in the wilderness unless recruitment improves. Now, I will get into that, but there's a more important story. There's a more important, I suppose, piece of news that I want to speak about first before we go anywhere. And that was the news that came last night when Cristiano Ronaldo released this on Instagram, revealing that his baby boy had passed away. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo and Georgina, they had twins. I think they had twins in April. I think they announced it in October. And he's announced last night on Instagram that his baby boy, one of his, the daughter survived one of the twins, but his baby boy has passed away, which is fucking sickening. I'm not a parent, so I can't completely relate to this. But it must be one of the, I'm not sure how you recover from that. I'm genuinely not sure how you recover. So all of us will send our deepest condolences, prayers, and thoughts with Cristiano Ronaldo and Georgina Rodriguez, because it's the worst thing in the world, and we absolutely should expect him to be nowhere near that Anfield pitch tonight. Family comes first, and I absolutely, in the same way that I think it was Jesse Lingard, he was given some. No, it was Jadon Sancho. He was given some time off for bereavement in his family. I imagine Manchester United will do the exact same thing with Cristiano Ronaldo tonight. So sending love to Ronaldo and his wife and all of his kids. But man, that must be the worst thing in the world. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that before we actually got in and talked about the news. But going back to what I was saying before about Ralf Rangnick and this idea that Manchester United might be spending years in the wilderness. I mean, we've already spent 8, 9. How many years? What was it? 2022? Nearly 9 years now. Well, it will be 9 years coming into the season since we won the league. So we're nearly a third of the way there for catching up with Liverpool's 30 years. And we all joked about it at the outset after Fergie left. Everybody was looking for Fergie to leave because they're like, right, okay, let's see what United actually do post Fergie. And we all knew it was going to be difficult. Nearly 9 years down the line, we seem further away from that title than we've ever been. That's what it feels like. The way that City and Liverpool are just building and building and building, sustainable growth, and they only seem to be getting better. City look like they're going to be signing Erling Haaland already into a squad of that quality. It's just you sit back there and you fear for the worst of Manchester United. And Ralf Rangnick, we've spoken about it in a lot of detail here on United People's TV. I was never excited about Ralf Rangnick coming in and being the manager. No, that's a lie. Of course, part of me was excited. I thought, he's coming in with this gegenpressing style of football. I was so bored of watching a lazy bunch of footballers that I was excited to see. What would happen at Manchester United. And obviously, the players weren't fit enough or mentally strong enough to actually play that style of football. So it's not really particularly worked out that well, has it? But I was excited more so for Ralf Rangnick and what he was going to do in a consultancy role, right? That's what I was excited to see when Rangnick came in and what I still remain excited by. So that's why these comments for me are particularly important. Because if Ralf is going to be this consultant, then you know what? He's got to be consulted. You have to listen to what he has to say. I'm going to run through his comments now. Coming in here from Anna saying, super chat last time. Sorry about my mic last night. Don't worry about that, mate. It's fine. To-do list of Erik Ten Hag, strip Maguire, captaincy, give it to Bruno, replace him with Rudiger, bring in Kunku and Tchouaméni and keep around fit. Easy as that. If you do that, winning the treble. Simple. I mean, his to-do list really is a long, long list. Malps, you're saying City get Haaland, the league is done. Why? United have got... We're already playing catch-up. It feels like Liverpool's squad currently is more complete than City's, but I'm sure City will remedy that this summer with Erling Haaland and probably with replacing Fernandinho. You imagine, Fernandinho's already said he's going to leave. So they might even get Tchouaméni ahead of us. They imagine that. We've waited so long to try and sign a defensive midfielder that we've waited until City need to replace their main defensive midfielder. If I'm a defensive midfielder and I get 2 calls from 2 Manchester clubs, which one am I going to? Obviously, you can't rule out United completely, but City are the more complete prospect right now. And Haaland, dropping Haaland into that, incredible. I'm scared. I'm sure you're scared too. But let's start this journey that we're going on now. Hopefully, this next 3, 4, 5 years under Erik Ten Hag can be significantly different than what it was before. And if it's going to be significantly different, then these comments from Ralf Rangnick have to be listened to because they are absolutely spot on. Let's run through them here. And this is Ralf giving Manchester United a warning that, you know what, if you don't improve recruitment, you can stay in the wilderness for a long, long time. He said he was asked how long it would take to get to Liverpool's level, and Rangnick said, I don't think a club like Manchester United can afford to take 3 or 4 years in order to achieve that. And I don't think it's actually necessary. We spoke and how long it took them. It will take 2 or 3 windows if you know what you were looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, it is a needle in a haystack. If you know what kind of football you want to play and what kind of profiles for each position, then it is about finding them and convincing them to come. Liverpool finished in 8th in Klopp's first season. The year after, they didn't play European football, so the full focus was on the Premier League. Then it took 2 transfer windows. But even in the other transfer windows that came later on, there has been a lot of very good transfers and signings. This is what it's all about. It's not complicated. It's not rocket science. But in order to have the best possible wind behind your sails, look at that, you need to know what your destination haven is. Look at that for a line. If you don't know what that is, it's always difficult. Rangnick there absolutely reiterating something I said in yesterday's Ten Hag sort of here we go video after the Fabrizio Romano tweet. I said, I'm not personally, as a fan, I'm just telling you just telling you what mindset I'm going into the next few years. I'm not focusing on what we achieve on a game-to-game basis, even what we achieve at the end of the first season. I'm looking to where I want Manchester United to be in 3 years' time. That's the destination haven. We all know the destination haven is winning the Premier League again and sustaining some growth towards there. And what we've got at the moment now, and I've said this to you so many times here on United People's TV, it's like the U-turns, that we've gone from Fergie to Moyes, and Moyes didn't know what he was doing. He inherited a team of champions. He was over his head, had no authority and no respect from a team of champions. It was always that was always going to happen, sacked. Louis van Gaal came in. He had so much self-belief and confidence and experience that he just went in there and just shifted them all out. Tried to bring in something new, but his style just went against United, and there was no real support for it. So many signings were made there. Then Mourinho came in. The complete opposite type of signing was needed. All those players left. So many other signings came in. Huge spending. The squad was becoming this. It's like getting three packs of cereal and just like putting some Weetos in with some Weetabix and then some cornflakes, a bit of crunchy nut. It might taste nice. It might look good sometimes, but realistically, it's not the perfect blend, is it? And then Solskjaer came in, and he's trying to do something different. That's what we need to switch away from. It's not just about giving a manager what he wants. All right? That's not what I'm here to suggest, because I think that would actually make me a hypocrite, because it's the complete opposite of what I've said before. But that's what the vision of a club should do. It should be Manchester United. We're not getting Ten Hag in because he wants the job. We're getting Ten Hag in because we want to play a certain style of football, and he, therefore, fits the vision of the club. And that's why we've gone for Erik Ten Hag. And if after 2-3 years' time, it works out, it doesn't work out, then the next manager we get, we'll probably buy it in for the same style of football. And that's what we need to do. That's called continuity. That means and that's why someone like John Murtough, hopefully Ralf Rangnick, but I don't think he's going to be there long enough, but probably John Murtough or whoever the technical director and sporting director is, holds that sporting vision between managers, so that you don't have to chop and change on that severe scale. So going down there and going back to what you're saying there is absolutely true. Liverpool finishing in 8th, yeah, but Klopp came in halfway through the season. So I suppose there, I mean, do you think he's right here? I think this is a bit keen. But he's saying it will take 2 or 3 windows if you know what you were looking for. How long do you think, genuinely, how many windows do you think we need under Erik Ten Hag for this to actually work properly? Because 2 or 3 feels a bit adventurous. That means 1 summer, 1 winter, so that 2 summers and a winter. Do you think that's long enough? Do you think that's enough to weed out the problems inside this squad and enough time for him to make the sort of signings that we need inside this squad? How many signings does this squad need? You let me know. But 2 or 3 sounds a bit adventurous to me. As I said, it sounds a bit keen. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I in my head I was thinking like properly like 2 full seasons. I was thinking a summer, a winter, a summer and a winter, and then when you head into that 3rd season, you're really in a position that you kind of only need 1 more signing to go click. And then it starts to click. That's what I feel. But at the same time, this squad there's real strength and there is quality in this squad. Just not really looking at the level of City and Liverpool, though, is it? Jonathan, you're saying 3 windows because a massive clear out is needed. Barca turned it around in almost 9 months. Mate, Barca have got a hell of a crop coming through, haven't they? Is it Gavi? Pedri? It's Pedri and Gavi? I don't know. Anyway, Xavi's the right manager to get the most out of La Masia players for 2. 5th window, 6 to start competing properly. I don't know. I don't think we're that far. I don't think we're like 5-6 away. But Jack, we want action straight away. Why wait? We've been sidelined for a time. We demand results. Look, I know that there will be United fans that do demand that, but the club has to make sure that they stay resolute and not just stubborn and supporting a manager for the sake of it, which I feel like we went towards the end of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit stubborn towards the end of Solskjaer. I'll put my hands up in a minute now. I knew it I knew it at the time, but I just felt so afraid probably. So afraid by the structure of the club. and what would happen if we just sacked Solskjaer and we just repeated it and brought in a new manager and it all happened again. I just didn't think that was the right thing to do. Now that we've got an actual technical director, now that we've got Ralf Rangnick going into a consultancy role, it feels like the club is starting to make the correct decisions behind the scenes so that a manager is going to have a little bit more support. That's why I think it will be a little bit different this time. But Ralf Rangnick there, as I said, we brought him in as an interim manager with the intention of moving him into that consultancy role after. He doesn't think that it should take a club like Manchester United 3 to 4 years in order to achieve where we want to be again. 3 to 4 years, I don't think anybody's expecting 3 to 4 years. But I think you're probably looking at 2 full seasons and to start really competing in that third one. I think next year with Erik Ten Hag, I suppose similar to what happened with Klopp. What happened with Klopp in his first... Obviously, he came in during the season, I believe. But they got to the cup final. I think he lost their cup final, didn't he? But did he win the cup? No, I think he lost the cup final. Got to a cup final. Might not have finished in such an incredible position, but people can see the style of football that was going towards it. That's what United fans will want next season. That's where the progression comes from. That's what we all want to see. It's not next season. The measure of success isn't whether we win the FA Cup or the League Cup or the Europa League, is it? It's not the measure of success for United, and it never, ever will be. And if it is, that's when the standards are dropped. What we need to see now is what we haven't seen for 8-9 years, and just absolutely look at a team and go, I can see what we're doing here. And week in, week out, see incremental improvements. We're just coming from such a long distance that we all want it to be shut as quickly as possible. And I told you that, and we've spoken about this before. The modern football culture has brought a massive sense of immediacy and urgency. The concept of building, the concept of cycles, the concept that Fergie was so successful with, it's just not really the concept anymore. And it makes it more difficult for managers. It makes it more difficult for players. But I personally think, I don't think it's going to take 3-4 years, but Rangnick is so correct in saying this. It's that bit there. If you don't know what you're looking for, it's a needle in a haystack. And if you're talking about don't know what you're looking for, it's like, go to this. Like, let's scroll back and, I don't know, let's go back to 14-15. This is Louis van Gaal's first transfer window. Di Maria, a very tricky winger who loves to shoot on instinct, signed for a manager who literally told his players to take a touch before they shot. Oh, that didn't work out. Oh, what happened? Yeah, we sold him the next fucking summer. What a surprise. 10 million loss. Horrendous signing. Luke Shaw and Herrera. Decent signing. Marcus Rojo. Daddy Blind, a ball-playing centre-back. Rojo, basically a wrestler. Obviously, signed in the same summer. I think Ferdinand and Vidic left. Yeah. That was the biggest clusterfuck summer. That one there. Look how many, nearly 175 million spent on signings, and so many players left. That was the beginning of the real transition for Manchester United, and just very, very different types of player. The year after, Anthony Martial, a young, exciting. That was a sort of United signing, I felt, and obviously it hasn't worked out towards the end. But I thought that was a decent signing. Schneiderlin, I thought, well, when we signed him, he was one of the best central midfield signings in the players in the Premier League. I thought, finally, we've done it. And then he just ended up being shit. Schweinsteiger, an old experienced player, a new right back. Those signings seemed okay, I'll be honest. Martial, Memphis, Schneiderlin, they seemed like United just didn't work. But you've seen so many times, 95 million on Pogba, and it just hasn't worked out. Mkhitaryan, 38 million. That was a horrendous signing. Eric Bailly, 35. He's been frozen out. Been here for 5-6 years already. Jeez. Lukaku. Matic, 40 million. Very decent signing. Lindelof, 31 million. Has been an okay signing. And Sanchez, horrendous signing. Fred, decent. Not a 50 million pound player. Still kind of stand by that. Diogo Dalot, yeah. And Lee Grant. What is a Lee Grant? No one knows what a Lee Grant is. The list goes on. The list goes on. But it is like finding a needle in a haystack. If you're not looking for a specific type of play, and you don't have the person in control of the decision who knows what they're fucking doing. So we're looking at like the remnants of the Woodward era there. That was prime Woodward era. And that's why someone like Paul Mitchell, who I've reiterated on so many occasions, would be an incredible person to bring into Manchester United. I just don't know whether he'd be happy sitting in a structure and working underneath John Murtough. But that's the sort of person we need, just as much as we need Erik Ten Hag. It is equally as important. Erik Ten Hag will not have the time of day. He'll come in and he'll say certain players that need to be bought, right? Absolutely, he'll say certain players that need to be bought, certain players that don't need to be bought. And he has to be listened to. But there has to be someone at the club. Is it Marcel Brands, our chief scout? I can't remember if he still is. Jim Lawler, he was there back in the day. I don't know if he still is here. But we need that head of recruitment. We need that person who can go out and identify your Christopher Nkunkus, who can identify your Amadou Haidara or Sadio Mane or any of the other players that Ralf Rangnick was saying. Let's look at Liverpool now. It's no surprise that look, it's literally got like 5 or 6 players who I had signed or played for my clubs before. And he's right. Or he's saying Klopp's luck turned around when he signed Van Dijk and Alisson, players that fit the system he wants to play. We are far behind them. It's 2 years for me. I wouldn't say that was luck that turned around. Van Dijk and Alisson were just the final pieces to the jigsaw which Klopp had been building for a couple of years. It was bits on bits on bits on bits, and there were 2 holes, and they went and filled them with the best possible players. Same goes for Fabinho as well. He's made a massive difference. That's what United need to do. But we're so far away from... Had Manchester United been in a very different position, it's like if City had signed Ronaldo this season, they would have absolutely stormed the Premier League. That's the sort of player that they've been missing. Because when you get a player of Ronaldo's quality and you put it in a team like that where everything else is complete, then you get the quality to shine through. Instead, we're getting Ronaldo saving us with hat-tricks against Spurs and Norwich, but ultimately being frustrated a lot of the time. We just weren't ready for Ronaldo. As a squad, as a team, we weren't ready to maximize his goal-scoring capability. And instead, he's had to try and drag the club up with him. Warren, you're saying, I say 3 or 4 windows. It's a long-term project to iron out issues both on and off the pitch. 2, recruitment staff, restructure academy. Hopefully, Rangnick will modernize it as a consultant. I mean, I hope he does as well, my friend. He has to be listened to. He really, really has to be listened to, man. And I don't know. Again, maybe this is just the eternal optimist in me, but I hope that he will be. I think he will be. I feel like he will be. They talk about 6 days a month. Maybe a lot of work can be done in the 6 days a month. And as long as he can steer the conversation, because as he correctly says down here as well, this is so true, man. This is what it's all about. It's not rocket science. It really isn't rocket science. It's not hard at all. And that's the thing, I think, ultimately, which has pissed United fans off for so many years. It's not as if we're asking Man United to solve this mathematical formula, which is ridiculously difficult. It's like, get the right people working behind the scenes, look around, do some scouting properly, sign the right players, and build towards a system. It's not rocket science in any way, shape, or form. But it's like egos and power and this whole struggle that's happened behind the scenes at United has stopped us from doing that. And it's not fucking rocket science, man. What Liverpool have done and what City have done is not some brand new, incredible thing that nobody's ever done before. They've just operated properly. They've just got the right people in doing the right things. And all of a sudden it starts to work. Simple as that. And that's what United have to do. And I hope to God that we listen to this man, because as I said to you before, and I've maintained it, he really has got our best interest at heart, because our best interest our best interest is the same as what his best interests are. Ralf Rangnick wants to be successful. When he's 75, he wants to look back on his time at Manchester United and he can say to people, let me tell you about the story about when I helped rebuild Manchester United. That's a part of his legacy that he wants in his career. And that matches up with what United fans want. We want that sort of restructure. We want that sort of change and turnaround. So let him do his job, man. He can do it completely objectively. No Ed Woodward and the greed and the ego driving decisions. Simply looking at us going, I mean, honestly, man, what are you doing? What are you doing? This is very simple. Just do it this way. I've done it before. You can do it again. It's what Liverpool did. It's what City did. There's a reason it works. It's right there in front of you. Just do it properly. Now, Erik Ten Hag, that's a good thing. Erik Ten Hag means we've actually got a true identity of football. Maybe that's been the missing piece. Maybe that's truly been the missing piece because we've signed. Louis van Gaal was a manager, I suppose, that was driven by his own philosophy and his own system. It was very, very rigid, though. Very, very, very rigid. And that rigidity is ultimately what made Louis van Gaal fail. It wasn't a case of like, if it wasn't working, I can tweak it, I can adapt it. And that's what great modern day tacticians can do. They can adapt stuff on the fly, see what's not working in a game, say, okay, that's not working. Let me just tweak that. Boom, game changed. Van Gaal wasn't capable of that. Mourinho was a man who, in my opinion, when he came, he was past it. And it just got proven. I didn't want to ever say that out loud because I wanted to be I wanted it to be wrong. I wanted Mourinho to come and turn us into treble winners. That team that everyone hated in the Premier League again. Got closest by winning that double, but it was a double of cups that ultimately have made zero difference to Manchester United. It might be 2 pieces of silverware on his list, but no one's really going to talk about that. Oh, you can talk about. Oh, do you remember that year that we won the Europa League? Yeah, it was great. I remember I gave my ticket up for Ajax that game. Gave it to my mate Jit because I couldn't afford the ticket. I couldn't afford the flights. Anyway, not so upset. I went to the final. I went to the League Cup final though, as Zlatan, of course. But Man United's not a club that's built on League Cups and Europa Leagues. It's not. It will come across as arrogant to say such a thing, but when you've tasted and you've dined at the top table and you've won a treble and you've won the league 3 years in a row and you've won 13 Premier League titles under Fergie, you think a diet of League Cups and Europa League is going to sustain that? No, it fucking won't. It never, ever will. We've been fed on too many. We've been spoiled. Because we've been spoiled, we want to taste that again. I kind of forgot what I was talking about there. I got into a little bit of rant. Let me go down to the comments and see what you're saying. Birangi saying, Rangnick is head and shoulders above everyone in United's board members in regards to football. He absolutely is. I mean, that's no chance. That everybody knows that, right? Jonathan, LVG was possession obsessed, like watching paint dry. Yeah, oh my God, man. Jeez, we used to have like, what is it? Every game we used to have like 65, 69% possession and like a shot. One shot. It was like, oh my God, sideways again, sideways again, sideways again, sideways again. There was no penetration whatsoever. A bit like me after a few beers. Let's go down here. I'm in full support of the interim manager, says God's work. Oh, good. He did get trophies. That's what I mean. Like certain fans, certain United fans, I'm sure some of you, trophies are your measure of success. At the end of the season, if you don't have that silverware, no success. And ultimately, in 2-3 years' time, that's exactly what will be applied to Erik Ten Hag. But we are now at the beginning of a cycle. Football works, and I wish that we weren't at the beginning of a cycle, ladies and gents. We've waited long enough. We shouldn't be at the start of a cycle 8-9 years in, but we are. That's because United have ballsed it all up. And something I'm very excited about as well is we're talking here about what Ralf Rangnick is saying. Ralf Rangnick's warning to Manchester United, to Erik Ten Hag, and it's the right sort of warning. I think this is coming from 2 directions. It's not only Ten Hag being warned by Rangnick, it's Ten Hag having the same conversations with Manchester United's board. This is from Fabrizio Romano and Jamie. No, it wasn't Jamie Jackson. Oh, it was Jamie Jackson. Yesterday in The Guardian, he's saying it is understood that Ten Hag has been granted a key demand to be allowed the final decision on transfers together with the club executive, owing to his determination that the mistakes in the market that have marred the last 9 years of the post-Fergie era should not be repeated. Boom. So not only are we hearing the idea that Ralf Rangnick is warning Manchester United's board, is warning Erik Ten Hag about, get it right. You've got to get it right in recruitment. Ten Hag, that, for me, by the sounds of it, and it's kind of what has been reiterated the entire way through, that's at the core of the delayed negotiations, I suppose, between Man United and Ten Hag. He demanded that. He absolutely demanded that. And that's what we need. We need Ten Hag to be not only demanding that, but getting that in writing, baby. And that's a key difference with Ten Hag, I feel. Mourinho would have been told, you're going to be backed. And then that was it. I don't think Mourinho ever had that in contract, in writing. Ten Hag will be able to have something to wave in the face of Richard Arnold if the club ever starts backing out. This is what you told me at the start. This is what you need to follow through on. And I like that, man. I really, really like the fact that Ten Hag has got that in writing. I think that's a crucial little difference here between what he'll be able to achieve compared to what's happened previously. That's what I think anyway. Paul, you're saying we need Champions League football this season to fund new players on Facebook. No, we don't. Manchester United have still got cash in the bank. Manchester United have got money. And when we don't finish inside the top four, we all know what happens. We spend big. And now the only difference is the fact that we spent big last year because we finished second under Solskjaer and the club actually backed him. That was the only twice under the Glazers has that strategy ever changed. Last year was one of them. This year, if they follow their previous strategy, we're going to spend big. And we've got Erik Ten Hag in, but I imagine we'll spend around about between 150 and 175. But we should be able to recoup over $1 million in wages on the players leaving on a free transfer. So that's not really going to be too much of an outlay. And we can get something back probably in the region of, I don't know, I would say between 30 and 50 million on players leaving. Martial, Mata, Phil Jones, and Andreas Pereira. 4 players there. You should be able to get in the region of 40 to 60 million between those. Brings your net spend down to around about 100 million. More than reasonable. More than reasonable. I mean, in theory. Might be a bit different with the Glazers. Jimmy Deans, you're saying, I'm excited Ten Hag is coming in, but this is arguably the toughest job in world football. What if he fails? You're not the first person to ask that, Jimmy. And I said, just like I'll say to you, there's no point in having a hypothetical conversation about if he fails in 3 years' time. That's just wasted energy. He might fail in 3 years' time. And when we get to that point, we'll have that discussion. But there's no point trying to bury yourself in thoughts like that now because it's hypothetical. We don't know whether he's failing. So there's no point talking about that. Let's talk about whether he can succeed or not. That's a better way to spend your energy, in my opinion. Divyansh, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you. Saying, realistically, do you think we will win any... Yeah, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. I think that's a bit of a rhetorical question. I absolutely do. Because what we're... Timing-wise, right? As I said, football works in cycles. It's just the way it works, man. Klopp and Liverpool and City and Pep, I'm not saying they're on the way down, but they won't be here. I think Erik Ten Hag will outlast both Klopp and Guardiola. I think he will be manager of Manchester United longer than both of their exits. And when that happens, that's when the door of opportunity opens. Why is it the City have been able to turn themselves into this club? It's because Fergie was on the way out. Fergie was on the way down. Obviously, 2013 happened, but that was the end of it. And when Man United stepped away from that, the floor was free for them to dance and do what they wanted. And when that door opens, when Guardiola leaves City, no doubt City will do far, far better at replacing Guardiola than Manchester United did with Fergie. That's a given. But the opportunity will be there, right? And the opportunity will be there when Klopp leaves Liverpool. I think that's going to have more of a significant impact. Klopp leaving Liverpool will hurt them more than Guardiola leaving City. That's just my opinion. But I think both of the clubs will be able to replace them with good managers and they won't have such a severe drop. But that's when our big chance. That's just when the cycles hopefully switch. And then we need to be in the right position at the right time with the right manager in Erik Ten Hag to take advantage of that. That's what I need to see. That's what I want to see. And that's what I think we will see. But look, we can talk about Ten Hag, we can talk about Rangnick, we can talk about Klopp, Guardiola, blah, blah, blah. But tonight, I'm not sure if you know, we actually play Liverpool. Jesus, we play Liverpool tonight. And I'll run through the team news here quickly with you. Bam. I spoke about this yesterday. I've spoken about this already. Fred, Varane, McTominay, Shaw, Cavani, all missing the game tonight. And I think we should absolutely expect Ronaldo to not be involved as well. If he is, that will be down to his own decision, but I don't expect him to be involved at all. Theo, you're saying, oh, look, nice to see you there, buddy. Nice to see you there on Facebook saying, this Liverpool game disaster, or do we scab a draw? I'm fully anticipating a disaster tonight. I don't think it's going to be a 5-0, but I don't really feel at any point like Manchester United will be close to getting something from this game. I hope it doesn't turn into a mauling. If it does turn into a mauling, then, oh my God, I'm really not looking forward to that match reaction. But United have got I don't know what United are going to play tonight. Look, I ran through my predicted 11 yesterday, and I was so confused. I was like, we're looking at the team that we played against Norwich, and I'm like, why would he play Pogba, Lingard and Bruno in that formation if you're not going to try it against Liverpool? In reality, what you might see is probably something more like that, right? You probably will see this. Matic is our only central midfielder. Matic can't operate on his own in midfield. So maybe you're going to see a 4-3-3 like that with Pogba lining up alongside Matic. Pogba, I think, will play this game despite being told to fuck off by Manchester United fans. And you see my my video there. One sec, there's someone spamming on Facebook, so he is about to get blocked. I apologize for everybody on Facebook. The comments on Facebook are a little bit harder to manage on YouTube because you can't have mods, I don't think, in the same way on Facebook that you can as YouTube. Don't blame me, blame Facebook, all right? But I think he's just been banned. Please don't spam the comments, anybody. The comments are supposed to be where the community can chat, so don't get in the way of that. But look, if we're looking at this team here, Robert, you're saying Sam Pogba should be nowhere near that team. Look, even if you're right that Pogba should be nowhere near that team, McTominay's injured, Fred is injured, and Matic is 139. We've got no midfielders. We've got absolutely nothing to play there. And it's not a case of, oh, Sam, why don't you play Lindelof in centre? Anybody who's saying that, just bang your head against a brick wall. Lindelof is not going to play in central defensive midfield for the first time for Manchester United away at Anfield. That's not going to happen. So what could realistically happen? Probably that. Probably Pogba playing alongside Matic in a midfield pivot. It's not good. In fact, I wouldn't say it's not good. It's crap. I don't want to see it, but it's probably going to happen. And I think you're going to probably see Bruno there. He needs to, and then you're going to run into a problem. As I said, in my opinion, I don't think we should expect Ronaldo to be anywhere near this team tonight. So maybe you're looking at a front three of that. And I tell you what, if you're looking away from home at Liverpool and you're looking about a team that's going to hit on the break and exploit the space, Rashford, Sancho, and Elanga, that's a lot of pace, man. That is a lot of pace, and that maybe that can work. Maybe that can get in the spaces in behind because they will be playing aggressive and attacking. Ian, hit the like button and wish me a happy birthday. Happy birthday to you, Ian, my friend. Long-time subscriber. Nice to have you on board as always. Make sure you drop a like on the video for Ian. It's his birthday, so you got to listen to him. It's his birthday. Same thing. Hey, Div. Yeah, my man. Nice to see you on board as a member of the gang. Rashford starts and scores, says Shushant. I don't know. We'll see. DWM, you might be right there. We might go to a back five. I don't particularly like the idea of Manchester United playing a back five. But yeah, as I said, the absolute expectation tonight is that we should see Ronaldo nowhere near that starting 11. In my opinion, we should see him nowhere near that squad. Football is nowhere near as important as family. And right now, Ronaldo should be taking that time off, but it's completely up to Ronaldo. If Ronaldo is part of that squad tonight, Ronaldo is part of that squad tonight because he is asked to be part of that squad. Manchester United and Ralf Rangnick will not be putting any pressure on Ronaldo to be part of this squad tonight. As I said to you before, in the same way that Jadon Sancho was given time off by the club for a bereavement in the family, the club will do the exact same thing for Cristiano Ronaldo. So I don't expect him to play tonight. So maybe you're going to see Rashford coming back into the team. It's just find your form, man. Rashford loves scoring against Liverpool. Not Anfield. Loves scoring against Liverpool, though. And Happy Coding saying, if Rashford is the answer, we need a new question. Look, man, something I will say about Rashford, and I've said this before. In fact, look, let's go over here. I'll stop my words. I'll just bring up what Ralf Rangnick said about Rashford, because I was going to bring this up a little bit later, but sorry, we're speaking about Rashford now. Here. This is what he said about Rashford in the second part of his embargo press conference. He was asked, he said, look, there were big hopes for Rashford this season after his operations. I think you said at the weekend he just has to show up. Could you explain what that meant by, and how is he not showing up at the minute? He's saying, I think with Marcus, the biggest problem is that he trains very well, goes down there. But you see this bit I've highlighted here. This is something I absolutely have said on so many occasions, right? And I think it's so, so true. Again, in football, and this is what Rangnick's saying, not me, if the football team is not performing continuously on a high level, it is difficult for individual players to develop in a positive way. This is the special thing about a team sport. Players individually can only benefit and develop if the whole team develops. That's what it's all about. I swear to God, if I could give a round of applause to that comment to Rangnick, I would. I've always said at Manchester United that players are product of the circumstances of the club. If our club's in free fall behind the scenes, we can't truly expect those players on the pitch to be thriving and just heading vertically upwards. It's not realistic. Now, individual moments can break through that, but real progression, if we there's only a handful of players that we can truly say have improved at Manchester United over the last few years, that have come to United and gone, ha, great. Bruno Fernandes is one of them. But there aren't that many. And players are always, as I said, products of the circumstances and the team that they are involved in. In Liverpool, mate, everyone's like, oh, I wish United had signed Andy Robertson from Hull for 8 million. I fucking guarantee you he wouldn't be the same player at United that he's become at Liverpool under Klopp. And it's because it's the product of the environment. It allows players to have the self-confidence to go, yeah, come on then, go. And that's the thing that needs to change under a massive thing that needs to change under Erik Ten Hag. Not the only thing that needs to end under Erik Ten Hag, but it absolutely has to change. Gung my man down here. I can see you there supporting the channel as you always do. What a hero. Hero to people. Him and Smoke. Is it Smoke? I think it's Smoke. I think I remember the name of the cat. This is what you're saying. All the way from Taiwan. You're saying Woodward and co didn't have a clue and wasted valuable years. With Rangnick as a consultant and Ten Hag coming in, we have a chance now to get it right and eventually usher in a new era of success. We badly need top quality players with the right mindset. And mate, look, I think Gungshi, me and you we think the same in a lot of ways. And when we look back on this in, I don't know, however many years, it's going to be that period of, I take the videos that they're going to make, the documentaries they're going to make of the years under Woodward. It's just going to be that horrible stain. In the same way that you look at Man United in the 70s, post Sir Matt Busby, after what happened in 68 with the European Cup, and then when he left, and then we went to like Franco Farrell, and then obviously relegation came in. You know, it was bad. It was a period of Manchester United's history which wasn't particularly nice. That's what's happened post Fergie. That 10 years post Fergie is just going to be remembered for like ups and downs, and some positives and some pros, some cons, but ultimately an absolute clusterfuck. And the club lost its shape, identity, focus, everything. But hopefully, this is where it changes. This is where the story truly does change. And Erik Ten Hag comes in, and Ralf Rangnick, and then the narrative can now change. The conversations, the focus can now change and come back to this club, which has been missing for so long. Ishola, I can see you down there joining as a member, my friend. Nice to see you on board. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll give you a shout out, as I always try and do. And ads, I'm guessing that means friend. I don't know. Man, Welsh. How can people speak Welsh? There are so many consonants. There's not enough vowels in it. What's that? Mugwin? I'm not going to try. Sorry. Welsh, lovely country though. Do like Wales. Big up to you as well, my friend Manuel. United are never underdogs. Well, that's the worst comment I've ever read in my life. Yeah, we are absolute underdogs. We should be getting absolutely pumped tonight. We should be getting slapped up. That's the expectation going into the game. And it's not rude to say that. It's not negative to say that. It's just the utter truth. United are going into this game tonight, and all of us are fearing a pumping. Hell, recent history, what happened? We got pumped 5-0 at Old Trafford. What's changed between them? Managers have changed. Has anything else changed? Well, I suppose we will see. Oh, look. Josh, that means smoke. And look at that. I do remember that. There you go. Strongman watching from Brooklyn, New York. How you doing, buddy? Look, you just basically got to do that. You got to cross your fingers and hope that United tonight just turn it on. That United play as a team that can control a little bit of this Liverpool team. But no matter how positive I try to make this in my head, I remember that Liverpool are trying to hunt for a quadruple. And I just think that, especially going into, even if we're 1-0 up, if we're 2-0 up, because it's at Anfield, they will not rest. They will be relentless, and their fitness levels mean that no matter really what happens going into this game tonight, the reality is that last 20 minutes is likely to be all Liverpool. So if we're 1-0 up, it's going to be a squeaky bum time times 100. If we're 2-0 down, I don't see how these players find the mentality and the strength to thrive in that Anfield environment. given what Liverpool are trying. And I want to be wrong, man. I want to be wrong 1,000,000%. I want to come on here later with some humble pie and say, look how good we played. But I don't just think, I know Liverpool will be relentless. I know they won't stop. And they're just better than us pretty much everywhere on the pitch at the moment. And it's tough. It's tough to go into, again, look, Anfield away, Liverpool away, at Anfield is always the toughest game of the season, let alone in current circumstances and current context. And not only do we play Liverpool away on Tuesday night, we then go to play Arsenal on Saturday at 12:30 at the Emirates. We're talking about this top four being back on. Could be back off as soon as it got turned on, even before the kettle's been boiled. We kind of need a result tonight. I'm not sure who Arsenal play, actually. Do Arsenal play tonight? Let me have a check of the fixtures, see if there's anyone else playing tonight. Scores and fixtures. Nope, just us playing Liverpool. Oh, okay. Right, so Arsenal will away to Chelsea tomorrow night. So maybe it's not going to be completely over. But imagine that. Imagine United can come away. Because you would expect Arsenal to get Arsenal's record at Stamford Bridge is absolutely abysmal. It's probably equally as bad as Manchester United's record at Anfield is. If we can come away with a draw, somehow, that's effectively the best we can hope for. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way. That's just, I mean being based in reality. I could come on here saying, yeah, man, let's go and win 3-0 at Liverpool. And I'd be like, what is this deluded dude speaking about? But if we can somehow scab a draw. It's a good way to describe it. Scab a draw. That's all we can hope for. Little 89th minute free kick. Whoop, lovely. And then go to the Emirates after they've lost to Chelsea. Game on. Absolutely game on. Nigel saying, let's just play the kids. It's what Fergie would have done. I know what you mean, but I think the majority of me agrees with Ralf Rangnick, and bringing kids into this environment where the wrong sorts of pressures and the wrong sorts of animosity, really, from United fans towards a team, is that really going to help them succeed? Is that really going to be what's best for the players and their overall progress at the club, or is that maybe going to take them down a notch? I fear for that. I think United fans will be a little bit more forgiving for youth players, so maybe that animosity would not be there. But look, one player who definitely should be getting a chance next year, and we know this in the preseason, I'm excited to see him. I was going to speak about him at the end, and here you go. James Garner. Last night, look at that. Assists, best in the match. Shots, best in the match. Crosses, interceptions, best and best. Touches, third. Successful passes into the final third, second. And it earned him another Man of the Match award. Jimmy Garner really is absolutely shining there at Nottingham Forest in a position where we've got such real weakness inside this squad. I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing what he can do next year. But going back to that comment there of just playing the kids, it's not just a case of taking Pogba out, putting Hannibal in. Who else? Sod it. Alejandro Garnacho, he's 17. He might only be 17, but sod it, take him out. Put him in the team anyway. How old is Charlie McNiel? He hasn't really played. Put him in anyway. That's a hard thing to say. Yes and no. Play kids at the right time. The kids only thrive when they've got experience around them. And the class of 92 would not have been the class of 92 if we weren't, as a club, where we were at that time. And they didn't have the likes of Roy Keane and Erik Cantona to learn from. They were just as responsible for the success of the class of 92 as the class of 92 were themselves. Everything links up together. Everything links up together. But look, I'd love to see Hannibal tonight. I'm not sure what. No, I wouldn't like to see Hannibal. Elanga, I really want to see Elanga start. I think if you're looking about players who have got a bit of form at the moment, Elanga's probably one of the only ones. That's what I think anyway. Hey, look, I'm going to answer your comments for the next few minutes, as I do at the end of every single stream. So make sure you drop a like on the video, please, because I'm sure there's so many of you that haven't dropped a like on the video. I don't know why. It just seems like a lot of people do. But just go down there, hit that like button. It does help the channel, helps show YouTube that some people actually do like the content. And I'll answer a few of your questions towards the end of the video. But yeah, tonight, Liverpool, I'm expecting the worst and hoping for the best. That's my mentality going into the game. And I'll be honest, it's probably all of our mentalities. Synergy is saying, can Bai and Jones play? Yeah, well, they could. If we look at how Phil Jones played, was it against Wolves? I think it was against Wolves at home. It was his first game back in a long time out. And the way that Harry Maguire is playing at the moment, we're basically playing with 10 men. And it's not offensive to say that to Maguire. He's just a man so bang out of form. And that's probably the biggest mistake I would say that Ralf Rangnick has actually made since becoming manager is he's given a little bit too much loyalty to Harry Maguire. And you're saying Liverpool are not infallible. Lost to Leicester, drawn with Spurs, lost to West Ham. Yeah, great. Not unbeatable. Yeah, that's what you can tell the players in the dressing room. But in reality, I know they're infallible, but they haven't played Manchester United, and they had played Manchester United, and they fucking spanked us 5-0. Again, it's just a reality check of the circumstances. YouTube, you're saying, Sam, do we know the revenue or cash flow coming into the club from previous years until now? Yeah, that's all available. It's all publicly available. Our debt has been going up. I think our debt's at 460. And that's why I'm so scared about the ideas of this Old Trafford redevelopment. Who's going to fund that? Glazers aren't going to put it out of their own pockets. Hell, when they did the Tampa Bay Buccaneers Stadium, which I will do a video on, by the way, because this really is a story that United fans need to truly understand. It's bad. I think they threatened to move the club away from Tampa if the council didn't. But it was a proper snidey, sneaky, horrible way that they got that stadium, and they didn't pay for it. That can't happen at Manchester United because English clubs are not franchises. They can't just be moved like the Oakland Raiders got moved to Las Vegas. That can't happen and won't happen in England. So it has to go a little bit different. Kerwin is saying, I hope you watch the front line tonight. You won't see goal hanging from Liverpool or United. I don't know what you mean there. That's a bit of a weird comment. I really don't know what you mean. Goal hanging? What's wrong with goal hanging? If you're onside, stay as close to the goal as possible. If you're a striker, no? Well, certain people. But obviously, we need some movement. United, we will play tonight on the counter-attack. We will sit deep, and that's why maybe the idea of Rashford, Elanga, and Sancho, with those three, with the balls in behind, with Pogba playing a little bit deeper. I'm just trying to look at the positives here. I'm just trying to spin it. Then maybe we can do that. And you're saying, do you think the United fans will end up throwing Ten Hag under the bus when they don't have their entitled nature fulfilled immediately? I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there will be some United fans that do that, but they will be a minority, and they won't be fucking listened to. I'll tell you that. And Theo with an absolutely ridiculous comment here that I'm no firing shots at Ronaldo. I'm just in my head. Ronaldo is not part of the game tonight. Ronaldo is spending time with his family, so I'm not involving Ronaldo in any of these conversations. That's why I'm talking about. Oh no, sorry, you're calling someone else out. But yeah, that's what I think we should expect tonight is Ronaldo to not be involved. And as I say one more time, I will say, fucking horrible, man. I can't imagine how bad that must be as a parent. Brian, nice camera, Sam. Thank you very much, Brian. It is much nicer, isn't it? I'm really happy with it. The one thing I want to fix on it, I want to make the colors pop a little bit more vivid. So I'm going to have to work on that today. But I tell you what, as I keep saying on the channel, you help make the channel grow. And anything that does come into the channel, like the super chat there from Gungshi, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I'll invest that back in to make it bigger and better, as I always do. Shane, I suppose, sod it, let's finish with a prediction. What's your prediction, eh? Let me know. You type yours into the comments now. Do you think, what's your prediction for the game tonight? You type it in the score, and I'll read a few of them out. I think I'm probably going to go 4-1 to Liverpool. I think I'm going to go 4-1 to Liverpool. I think United will get a goal. I think we might be able to get a goal on the counter. But I think Liverpool are simply they're just going to have too much. And the reason I'm saying 4-1 is because I feel like it might be like 2-1 going into the 65th minute, 60, 65 minutes. But it's at that point where Liverpool will be able to find another gear where Manchester United simply won't be able to. And I don't think we'll be able to cope with that. And I think the last 25 minutes, as I said, if it's close towards the last 25 minutes, they're really going to take it up a level that I don't think United will be able to match. And that's why I would go for 4-1. And you're going for a 1-0. Well, you're feeling pretty positive there. Strongman, you're going 4-0, 3-0. Shane, you're saying 2-1. 4-1 says Thomas. 8-1. I don't think it'll be 8-1. Jesus Christ. I am retiring from YouTube if it's 8-1. 6-0. Chewbacca, you're going for a 1-0 as well. 3-1, you're saying there. My God. Hoping for a hard-fought 2-2, says Gunkshi, but I fear it will be 4-1 to the Scousers. As I said, we're all going into this game tonight absolutely fearing the worst, hoping for the best, as you do with everything. It's the hope that kills you, right? But it's the hope that drags you into every single football game. Doesn't matter how good the opposition is, you'll always hope. I just don't think we can hope that well, because even if our midfield was completely fit, we're still playing Fred and McTominay midfield, and it's just not good enough to win Manchester United Premier League titles. But hey, let's hope that we can put a dent in Liverpool's chase for a treble. Let's hope that we can get towards a Champions League possible spot. I don't think we're going to get it. I think it'll be Spurs anyway, regardless. I don't think it'll be United or Arsenal. But I'll be back here tonight. I might do a video at lunchtime, because there's so many talking points around Erik Ten Hag that there's kind of not enough time to do all the videos. So I might do a video at 12 o'clock with something else I want to speak about on Ten Hag, but I'll decide that in a little bit. But I will be here with my match reaction after the game, so make sure you tune into United People's TV. Thank you very much, everyone, joining in. I think these conversations are getting better and better. These live chats in the morning, more people joining in, more excellent conversations. So thank you very much for your questions. Big up to you, Gungshi. Big up to you, Divyansh, and everybody else who sent in your super chats. Make sure you drop a like on the video to support the channel. I'll be back later on, hopefully after United win, but I don't think that's probably going to happen.